Alrighty, I'm back. So, continuing into day 5. Our day at Jasper National Park, where we didn't have to drive, just literally chill and hike and enjoy everything around us. Woke up, we slept in late. This crew does not get up early. Man, it is hard. You would be surprised. We've been working out back roads all year. Or maybe it makes sense. We all been getting up early all summer, so ready to sleep in, go at our own pace. And it is not. If my dad was here, he'd be losing his shit, because he likes to go, go, go. He is up at 5, 6 if he's feeling crazy and wants to sleep in. But we roll out of bed. Finally, I get them moving because I remind them that breakfast ends at 10. So we get to breakfast at like 9:45, eat breakfast at the hotel, and start talking about what we want to do. We don't really have a plan, except we know we want to hike, and we know that we want it to be badass. Or our new word, which I'm going to forget now. What's that word for badass? Formidable. 10-4, thanks. Gosh, I can't remember. Formidable. We've been using that word ever since we got to Jasper, and it said formidable on the sign, and we decided that context meant it is badass. So that was our plan, to make yesterday as formidable as possible, and we definitely accomplished that. The waitress at the brewery we were at the night before had told us do this Opal Hills do that Opal Hills hike, and I sure do miss looking at Red Wolf's behind. Nick screwed up our order. This entire trip we have been going Amy, me, Natalie, Nick. And, you know, at these national parks, it does get a little discombobulated pulling out of parking lots with the trailers and 4 of us. And Nick just went behind Amy. So now our order's all screwed up. Anyway, that's what we're talking about on the radios right now. But yesterday, decide to take that waitress's advice. And we're so happy we did. So, Opal Hills, an 8-kilometer loop. But I'm thinking, she had told us it was 6 hours, and I'm thinking, how is 8 kilometers going to take us 6 hours? So we're doing this loop. It's amazing. We're having all these like deep talks and debates about like Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, and even got Twilight thrown in there a little bit. We educated Nick on Twilight a little bit. Natalie and I were bonding over like, oh yeah, we went to those midnight showings for sure. But werewolves, Jacob, all that good stuff. And we're talking. At this point, I'm not worried about bears. I'm like, you know what? We are loud everywhere we go. We're laughing. We're having a good time. Like, bears will hear us coming from miles away. There's no way we're going to scare a bear. And it's just, again, we're talking about all these things because we feel like it's magical. Oh, we even had Narnia references in there. And it wasn't even from me. That was the cool part. And like very green everywhere, and there's like frost on the ground or snow. That was debated a little bit, but it was so pretty. And we come along into this open field, and you can just see all these mountain ranges all around us. And I think, okay, well, I guess this is like the end of the loop, and then you start looping back. Well, sure enough, like we see the path like winding to the right, and we're like, okay, but we want to go like up there. And we're looking up at this snow-covered mountains, snow all at the top, pretty straight up hike, but we were like, how do we get up there? Like, we don't want to just loop back and like go home. We're not ready for that. So we decide to go left. We cross a river, kind of still seem to be following a path. It's not, you know, it's very skinny and it's through bushes and stuff, but we think we're still following a path. Anywhere, somewhere along the line, there was no more path, and we were just kind of going up, and we were in like a little crevice, like where, like a V, we were talking about this yesterday, like a V, like where rivers would have cut the rock forms. So we're kind of like climbing up between one of those, all on rocks, and at this point our minds have been made up. Like, we are going up, and probably straight up, because we don't see any paths, and we don't want to loop back. We want to go up a mountain. So we're going. It's getting colder. We're adding layers. We're taking layers off. Then we're adding layers. Then Amy comes across some miner's lettuce, is what it's called. And at first we thought she was joking with us, but she gives us a nice little interpretive talk in a beautiful South African accent. And sure enough, we try this lettuce, and it's got this like sweet, super sweet, sour taste to it when you bite down. So we all are crouched down around this like little pod of lettuce. Again, like Narnia, because we're in this like winter wonderland. And then here's our little, like, Aslan is on the move. Here's a little bit of grass and vegetation for us to eat. So eat that. Now there's no stopping us. We are going up, and it is steep, and our breaks are becoming more and more frequent, and just because we're sliding, it's like take a step, slide, take a step, slide. And the air is getting colder. At some point my ears started to like get clogged up, and then we hit the snow. So now we're climbing in snow. All of us had brought like decent layers, like jackets. Each of us had a second pair of pants to put on, things like that, but we weren't wearing like boots or gloves. And as we're getting closer to the top, we realize it's kind of like, it seems to be getting bigger as we're going up, like we thought we'd make it in a certain amount of time, and we definitely way underestimated it. And now we're just like sliding on this snow, like trying very carefully to angle our feet, so that it's safe. But we are sliding using our hands. We basically have to crawl at certain points, like using our hands. So in the freezing cold snow, with of course the wind getting stronger and stronger as we go up, and our hands are just like freezing, like, because we needed our hands, but we didn't have gloves. And no matter how much you try to like pull your jacket above it, it just isn't the same. But whenever you needed a little motivation, like, okay, my fingers are about to fall off, you would just like turn around and look at the face we were climbing and like everything that was around us, and it was like magnificent and breathtaking. And I knew, like, we all knew we wanted to get to the top. And we still had a couple laughs. Nick started going strong on his Lord of the Rings quotes, and really just excited about getting to the top. And it was so beautiful all around us, and now we could see like a lake that we couldn't see from before. And so we're looking at just mountain ranges for miles and miles, and then you get a little higher and you realize there's more mountains behind the mountains that you were looking at. And just loving all of it, but really anxious to get to the top, because I'm like, I need to like give my hands a break. Finally get to the top, and sure enough, when you get to the top, you kind of like step over a ledge. Like, we were going up steep, so we go kind of over a ledge, and you just kind of like fall to the top. And of course, right when you get over that ledge, it's just like beauty all around on the other side. We're the only people up there. We see no one else like anywhere, and it's just gorgeous. And like, speaking of like all these like little kid movies we've been thinking of, that morning we were singing Mulan, I'll Make a Man Out of You, as I get to the top. And that's what it felt like. It felt like I was looking at that peak that Mulan like shoots her dragon bomb at to start the avalanche. And it was just so pretty and windy. The wind was hitting us like knives up there, and we hadn't eaten lunch, and we had said once we get to the top we're going to eat lunch. so cold. We're all throwing on our extra layers at this point. Everyone has all the layers they have with them on. We're trying to, like, you know, put our hands like under our armpits to try to like bring circulation back to our fingers. And we find this little ledge that was a little protected from the wind, like down the backside of the mountain, and we just sat there and warmed up and ate our peanut butter and jelly, and so beautiful. Just snow and mountains and nothing but nature and beauty all around us. And had a lot of fun, like frolicking around and just like loving that we're on top of this mountain, and the sun is shining. This whole time the sun is shining, which was awesome and like a saving grace to us. And then all of a sudden we're kind of talking about leaving because we have no idea how we're getting down this mountain. Like, we went straight up and we're like, I feel like it's not a good idea to just go like try to go straight down this mountain. And in the distance I can see two people like off to our right coming towards us down this summit peak. I don't know what the terminology is, but so they finally get to us and we're like, where did you guys come from? And they were like, oh, we followed the trail up here. There's a trail that like kind of winds up, and they were like, yeah, we saw you guys like scaling this mountain, and we weren't about to do that. No, we're not that brave. And we're laughing and we're like, brave or stupid? Like, apparently there was a trail that went up this way. We just decided to take our own. But it was so much better that we did. We had so much fun doing that, going that route. So, really happy about that. Those people took some pictures for us at the top, which was fun. And then we proceeded to try to find our path down. So we thought, well, we'll just follow where these people go. And we start following their footprints, and all of a sudden, in the middle of nowhere, like the footprints we were following, like disappear. And we're like, well, shit. Like, what happened to that? So we end up going back up because we're kind of like stuck unless we just start sliding on our butts down this mountain. And then once we get back to our starting point, we're just as like captured and in like the moment and the beauty, and we start taking more selfies together and laughing and enjoying and throwing our hands up in the air, you know, just that feeling of like, kind of like, I just want to dance around and I just want to enjoy the moment and feel like a kid again. I did feel like a kid again. Just so great. Finally, after much talking about it, much looking down the mountain, much contemplating, we find a route that's kind of like we can zigzag down a little bit. But even as we're zigzagging down, Nick in the lead, he just starts like frolicking is the word we decided to describe it. But he just took on full inner child yesterday and was like squawking like a bird, or pretending to be Dobby from Harry Potter and pretending to be the creepy dude from Lord of the Rings. Oh my gosh, what's his name? Gandalf? Is that his name? The one that's like, my precious. I don't know. He's like flailing his arm, running down this mountain, sliding down the snow. So Natalie's like yelling after him, like, please be careful, please be careful. Yet we're all running after him. I did slide to my knees at one point. Definitely had a lot of sliding, trying to keep your weight shifted back so that I wouldn't fall on my knees again. And a lot of fun. We finally get out of the snow, and the temperature like instantly shifts a little bit, but the ground is still really soft, so we can still run down, and it kind of feels like we're like running on a playhouse or something, because our feet are just like smoothly sinking in as we're like galloping down this mountain, making it even more fun because it's like not hurting our ankles. We're not afraid of like shifting rocks. We're just like nicely sinking into this dirt all around us. And after much laughing and flapping of the wings and accents and whatever we were doing, we decided to sit again we didn't really decide. We just kind of all sat again to just take in the beauty and look around and feel the sun and take off some of our layers since the temperature was changing again so quickly. And slowly we proceeded down this mountain, and it wasn't long again before we were running, and we find ourselves going right into one of those like V crevices again, like running through the middle, like right where a river had cut through all the rock. And we're really just running like side to side, like bobbing up and down kind of the crevice and laughing and yelling, and they're all really good at accents. I don't know, between like Amy and Nick and Natalie, they're all just always throwing out different accents, and it's funny, and I can't keep up because my accents, they just suck. I just whatever. But get to the bottom, we're still not anywhere near a path. Take off some more clothes, and then we're walking in this field again, like through the brush. And so this was the first time we started talking about bears again. Like, we're just walking through the brush, not on a path, like, but again, we're talking, we're laughing, we're debating Harry Potter pretty intensely at this point, or just talking about it as if they're our friends. And no bear's gonna attack us because they're gonna hear us coming from miles away. We're not gonna surprise them, that's for sure. And finally we get back to the path.
Oh, you got a plain old car on your foot. Just heads up, because he's gonna pass you. I think when he hits the chance, just in case you guys want to pass at the same time.
So get back to the path. Sure enough, we find where we had cut off from the path and decided to like go up the mountain. Not like 200 yards down the path, there was a fork in the path, and the one arrow was like, looked like it was going up the mountain, and there was a man standing there, and I asked him, where does that go? And he was like, oh, it goes up to the top of that mountain, you should do it, it's so cool. We all just start laughing. We were like, we did just do it, but we went that way, and we went straight up. And he looked kind of confused at us, and we just kept walking and laughing. And everywhere we go, we kind of get stares because we're either telling stories or intensely debating Lord of the Rings and Team Jacob or Edward, and just so funny. Continue to make our way back in through the woods. You have to go down to get back to like where we were parked. And we came out to a prairie, started throwing the frisbee around a little bit, and again arguing what frolicking means. And then I start imitating Nick running down the mountain, you know, with my hands flailed, kind of looking like a demonic creature, but smiling the whole time, gawking, making funny sounds. And I'm like, this is what frolicking is, exactly what he was doing. And right as I'm doing this, a man comes out from the path and he sees me. So we ask him, what's frolicking? And he said, whatever that woman was just doing, that's frolicking. So we're making people laugh wherever we go. Also, at one point when Nick was bounding down the trail, I literally just yelled to him. I had just yelled, Nick, we are not carrying you out of here. Not 2 seconds later, all of a sudden we look down, we hear a thud, and Nick is like sideways on the path, on his stomach, like face down. Oh my gosh. Living on the edge. That would have been terrible if he had hit that motorcycle right there.
Yeah, like that is absolutely stupid. Had no idea where you were going.
Yeah.
Morons all day.
Morons all day. Yeah, so Nick's on his stomach, and we're like, oh my gosh, are you okay? He won't tell us what happened. Like, we have no idea how he ended up sideways on his stomach. He's okay. And once we realize he's okay, we're like laughing way too hard to hear what he has to say anyway. But get back in the vans finally.
Oh, that dude is nuts.
After our long, awesome hike. It was like 5:30, almost 6 o'clock by this point. But on our way out, we stopped at the lake that we had seen from the top of the mountain. It was beautiful. Again, that blue color. All the lakes up here have that blue, amazing color. It's, oh my goodness, I don't even know how, it's so cool. Too much beauty to take in at once, that's for sure. And do our drive home. We have like a 45-minute drive home. But it's fun because we're all in the car together, and so we're all stoked. Like, we've been driving separately this whole time, you know? So it's fun when we get to be together and we're like, road trip! Heck yeah! So exciting because, I mean, we've been on a road trip for 45 hours now, but it's always been alone. So really have fun being together. Listened a little bit to Nick's audiobook. We all have our different audiobooks. He's listening to Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, which I just finished reading before this trip, actually. So we listened to a little of that. Such a good book. Definitely recommend it. And the audiobooks have all been a topic of conversation. Natalie's listening to Harry Potter, and my book has been the biggest inside joke, like, the whole time, like, causing so many jokes. It's a hilarious book to listen on audiobook, and I can only listen to like little increments at a time, but I'm not going to tell you what book it is because that's just, some things from this trip need to be kept secret. But it is ongoing. It has caused lots of laughs, constant inside jokes, so that's cool. And what else? Oh, so we get back to the hotel, more amazing views the whole way, lots of fun conversations, just Nick and all his gal pals. That's the name we came up with yesterday. Well, not Nick and his gal pals, but the name we came up with. Anyway, inside joke, can't explain it. Had to be there. Get back to our hotel, decide to like soak in the hot tub for a little bit. There's these awesome hot tubs. We have these little wine juice boxes, as they're affectionately called. Drinking our wine juice boxes in the hot tub on empty stomachs. Great plan after hiking all day. Then we walk into town. It's like 8:30 by this point. Walk into town, find a nice little Greek place to eat dinner at, and by the time we get to dinner, we're all just exhausted between hiking all day, then the hot tub and the wine. We're just like chugging water at dinner, play some cards, enjoy our dinner, have some coffee for dessert. And let me tell you, it's a good thing we got coffee for dessert, because when we got back to the hotel, we find my trailer tire completely flat. So instead of going to bed like planned, well, we had woken up a little bit because Amy had her skateboard, and so we're all taking turns skateboarding and talking about Avril Lavigne, naturally, because that's who you talk about when you're skating. And I'm riding the skateboard down the sidewalk on my butt, yelling like a little kid. Get back, and we got to change my tire, because we decide, let's do this, like, we got to do this tonight as opposed to in the morning, because we have definitely established we are not morning people. We do not move in the morning. So took us forever to figure out the jack. If you guys ever need to change the tire on the trailer, do not use those trailer jacks. They do not go high enough. I don't even know why they're in the trailer. Like, I'll be open and honest about that, Backroads. You have got to get rid of those jacks, because it did nothing for us. We tried to use 2 different ones and elevate it with wood, and it was so stupid. And then finally we were like, okay, let's just use the jack from the van. Problem solved. Changed the tire. Took that time to also check all the bikes on the top of my trailer, make sure they're all tight. You know, we got 10 bikes on my trailer that need to make it back to Utah safely. Everything's looking good. My tires changed. So again, finally, by the time we all get back to the hotel and in bed, it's like midnight, and we're up talking a little bit, looking up wild animals, the difference between things, difference between elk and caribou, things like that, you know. All these things we're interested in now. So it was just an amazing day. Amazing, amazing day. And now we're on our way to Banff today. Super short drive, and this whole drive has been amazing. Beautiful views, like beautiful everything. I'm just so happy right now. It's great. So get to go to Banff right now and have another rest day tomorrow. Woo! Killing it. So happy. And I'm gonna leave you there, because that is